Well, welcome everybody to our November edition of Office Hours, and we are having just a little bit of technical difficulty this morning. It wouldn't be a Fly Plugins morning without technical difficulties. So we're just adding to the tradition. That's all. So anyway, welcome everybody, and I'm here with Corey, Crowley, and Nate.
Hey guys.
And these are my two good friends, and we make up the Fly Plugins team. So we are going to answer your questions this morning about WordPress in general, or maybe one of our plugins in our plugin lineup, or even online business or marketing questions or things of that nature. So good morning from Arizona.
Hola.
Morning from Colorado.
Yeah, where it's nice and cold.
It is snowing at the moment.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Yes. No golf for us today.
Too bad.
I don't think we're going to be golfing either, man. It's pretty muddy out here. We got a lot of
it's rain
in the desert.
Yeah, that's unusual.
Oh yeah.
Welcome everyone.
Well, let's jump into some of these questions. I know we've got some questions this morning in Trello.
You guys want to dive in?
Yeah. By the way, if you guys have a question, you can pop it into the Zoom chat window if you are joining us from Zoom. If you're joining us from Facebook, feel free to pop in a comment on our Facebook post, and I will be monitoring those, and we can make sure we get those questions answered, as well as questions that we have on our Trello board.
You got it. Well, let's get started on them.
Yes.
Do it.
Let's see. I have first one here is from Malika, and she asks, well, first just states that she can only add one quiz inside a unit, and that is how the plugin is set up to work, Malika. You aren't able to add more than one quiz within a unit. So can I add multiple quizzes inside a unit? No. Second question, does the plugin support free samples? And it does.
A couple versions back, we added in the ability to enable a unit to be what we call a teaser unit. So, for example, if somebody comes to your website and is not enrolled into a course, they can view your course outline. And depending on the unit that you've enabled for a teaser unit, they're able to click on that unit and actually view the content of it. Now, obviously, they can't move through your course or anything like that. It's not going to
take a quiz or anything like that.
Yeah, you can't. No quizzes. It's not going to track any progress or anything like that. But you can definitely view the content of that particular unit. So if you have video content in the unit, they'll be able to get a taste of what you have in your course.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And you can always view those from the unit listing screen, right? If you filter units for that course, it'll tell you I believe there's a green check mark that indicates if it's a teaser unit.
It'll say teaser next to it, actually. There's some text next to it, and it'll be the only one clickable if you're viewing the course outline.
Okay, that's good.
But to add on to her question about the multiple quizzes inside a unit, so, and I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Nate and Ben, but I think the general way to get around that is just to create multiple units that, have quizzes in succession, so that they can move on and complete one quiz and then take another quiz,
right,
if needed. So.
Yeah, that's
a
true.
Way to maybe get around that,
And we have a lot of users that do that. The unit certainly doesn't need anything other than the quiz if you don't want it to.
Right.
A lot
you
of
could even label the unit as like quiz 1, quiz
Sure.
2 or something like that, and not put anything in it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I see a lot of end of course surveys where the final unit there's nothing but a survey there. Okay. Great. Cool. Next is a multi-part question from Jennifer. I would like to lay out courses in a grid style. That's the first part of the question. And really, you can do that any way you want now.
Yeah, with the with the course page, the course archive page, that's based on a template currently, and so yeah, you can certainly style that. I know I've played around with that myself, and you can style that so that it looks like a grid layout. So it would just take a little bit of CSS. Currently, we don't we don't provide any additional templates or anything like that. But you can customize the template, number one, or if you just want a grid layout, you can do that all with CSS, custom CSS.
Yeah, that's usually the way people do it now, is just with some CSS, because each course is inside a div, and you could use some type of float layout or something like that, and you can always Google how to do that. It should come up with plenty of results. So
right. I would like to add time to complete to each unit. And I guess that would be as simple. You could put that anywhere, really, right? In the unit title, description, or not description, but the actual text field.
Yep. Yeah. And so it depends also what your content's based on. So if it's a video, obviously you'll know the actual time for the video, which you can, like Nate said, you can add that to the title. However, I've seen some plugins. I'm not even sure. I've never tried one with WP Courseware, but there's some plugins that will actually kind of calculate the time if your unit content is just all textual based content, and it will take the words, I guess, and it will somehow calculate that into minutes. I know we have a blog that we've set up recently, and it does that. It'll take all the content within that blog, and it kind of calculates how much time, and it puts it as part of the metadata at the top, or the course, or I'm sorry, the blog author meta information at the top.
Yeah, because it's based on words per minute, I believe. Like, you can set it to say, like, on average, a user would read 20 words per minute or something like that. Depending on how many words are inside the article, it will calculate how long. And I've also seen them to where if you scroll, like how far you scroll down the page, it will add like a progress bar, like, hey, you're 80% through the article or something like that. So I'm sure there's plugins out there to do that as well. So.
Right. I always like those. And yeah, it's especially helpful, like you said, for video also. If you just have 20 minutes to sit down and work on some course content, what you can get into and what you should wait until later.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. The third part is Jennifer's question. Interesting. Best practices for selling courses. Ben and I just talked about this. Well, we all three talked about this yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
We're about to get into this ourselves to share some marketing and promotional practices.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different ways you can tackle this. And it really all depends on where you starting. Are you starting off at ground level? I mean, if you're starting at ground level, it's going to be a process. I mean, you obviously are creating a course and launching it into the wild, and you're trying to get in front of people. And the quickest way to get in front of people is through paid advertisement. You can use Facebook ads or even Google ads. I know Nate's been dabbling in Google ads recently, and that's you see immediate results with that. But obviously you want to be doing other things as well. You want to be posting on social media so that you can start to grow a following and get in front of people somewhat organically. And then also you can do this through content marketing, through writing blog posts and things like that. And so a lot of that is a little bit more organic type of traffic that you would be drawing towards your sales page, obviously, and that way you can produce more sales. But it's a process that you have to go through. There's a lot of testing involved. There's a lot to it. Creating your sales funnels and things of that nature. So there's so many different facets to marketing, and we're building some training stuff on this right now. Nate and I are both working on this, and so we've been going through these processes ourselves, and so it's definitely something that's not super easy and something that comes naturally. So great question.
Absolutely. And we're starting to plan our next 3 months of content, our quarterly content calendar. That's going to include a lot of this stuff. But yeah, there are all sorts of ways to do it, and we're gonna try to cover some of those, even things that people maybe don't think of, like affiliate programs and yeah, all kinds of ways to do it. It takes time, but it pays off. Last part of Jennifer's question, she wants to know about the walkthrough of the checkout process.
So the checkout process is pretty it's pretty seamless, you know, depending on how you have things set up. If you're using WP Courseware's shopping cart, you can set up your courses page, which will have the enrollment buttons. You can click on the enrollment button, which is actually the kind of the buy now button, so to speak, which will immediately put the course in your shopping cart. Now, depending on how you have things set up with your courses, there's a few caveats. You can sell multiple courses that are subscription-based model only if you're going through Stripe. But if you're going through PayPal, or if you're only offering PayPal as your payment gateway, you can only sell one course at a time. So that said, once you get to the shopping cart, checkout is just basically putting in your information, your name, email, setting up a password so that you're registering an account. You put in your payment information, credit card, and that sort of thing, and then you basically check out. Now, you do have an option to insert a coupon code as well. So if you enter a coupon code, or you have one available, you can enter the one at that point, and it will calculate all of your costs, and then you simply check out. Once you check out, what happens is it immediately logs you into the site and places you into the student account page, which is kind of the dashboard. And then from there, you can click on your courses tab, which is just a course outline, or a dynamic course outline of every single course that you are enrolled into. And from there, you can just immediately start taking your course. So it's a pretty seamless. Corey's done a great job with our shopping cart, and it's very seamless. We've had a few things come up with our payment gateways and changes that we've had to make recently due to if you go back and review our past office hours, we were talking about SCA compliance, and there's just some changes that we've had to introduce with that sort of thing. But aside from that, it's a pretty seamless process. It's pretty good, actually.
Yeah, and I believe, and I don't know if we have this on our demo site for WP Courseware, but I believe you can demo the checkout process, right, Ben?
Yes. So on our demo site, you can register for a demo site for a demo account, if you will. And basically what it does is it spins up your very own WordPress website. It immediately installs and configures and enables WP Courseware. And so you definitely would have to go in and configure the payment gateway. You can use, I think the quickest way to get it set up is really to use Stripe. And if you create a Stripe account, you can set one up for free. And then you get your API credentials, which I believe is just a key set, 2 keys. You pop those keys in, and you can test transactions. Stripe, I believe, gives you credit card numbers that you can use for testing.
Yeah.
So you can go in and you can just test. You can be testing within about 5 minutes. In that way, you can go through the entire process. So what's really cool about the demo site is you'll see the administrative side of it. And then if you just click over and open up an incognito window, you can come in as a student to see how the process actually rolls out. So you can be on admin on one screen and student on the other, and you can totally test the entire process front to back.
We should do I know we have a lot of videos to do, but that might make a good video for our YouTube channel, little tutorial on that, testing that. Or do you go through that? The demo video is pretty quick. It's only about 2 minutes, right?
It is. It's not super in depth. Like I don't go into the weeds of setting up, your shopping cart and all of that.
Right.
There are I do have videos on our YouTube channel that are very in depth on the shopping cart, setting all of that up. But it's pretty intuitive. I think it's pretty easy, but it's a good idea. I think maybe we could do that. We could have kind of a full on, video demonstration of our demo site.
The other one I have here is from Randy, and I read through it. It's basically a use case, which we don't really cover specifics. But it sounds like WP Courseware would fit everything he wants to do. If you guys want me to go through it quickly, I know we really don't talk about specifics of use cases much on office hours, but he said their intention was to create an online Bible course with a variety of admins who oversee specific students, instructor role, I'm guessing. We've altered our plans. We simply want to offer people the ability to register for their course, get login info, and have access to the first module, followed by questions about that module, which would not be graded. At the bottom of the page, we're thinking we link to an answer key where they have the answers so they can see how they did with their own answers. WP Courseware can handle that. Even with a non-blocking quiz. I guess it would still need to be scored, right?
Yeah, it would be scored, but what would be cool is it basically would let them progress, so they wouldn't be hindered. They can still progress through the course, and it's just a recommended score. It's not an absolute score that you have to get. So all that does is allow for retakes. But the cool thing about just doing a non-blocking quiz is you can set it up so that when the quiz is submitted, they can immediately get the correct answers. So rather than having an answer key, they'll see those answers right on screen immediately as soon as they submit that quiz, because it'll be automatically graded so long as they don't use a open-ended question or a file upload question.
Right. And hopefully I'm assuming that's maybe what he means by having them not be graded, not wanting to block progress based on a score. So that's easy enough. Let's see. Then we'd keep advancing them through the modules until they reach the end. Mostly we want this to be hands-off as much as possible. We're interested in having a registration page and in keeping track of the people who enroll. How would you suggest we go about that? He does mention the courses are free and will be available to anyone who wants to enroll. So really the plugin handles all of this from start to finish. From registration all the way through to submitting a quiz and getting their answers and completing the course and a certificate if you want. Yeah.
Sounds like a good fit.
Sounds like a good fit. Yeah. Yeah.
And even with the answer key, he doesn't even need the link to an answer key. And I think we talked about this, is that with a quiz, it can show their correct and incorrect answers. So, and give feedback too. We can,
you can have the downloadable PDF, and it'll have the correct answers on there as well.
Right. Yeah, they can keep that for review later.
Yeah.
We've had a number of, ministry courses and Bible courses over the years. So yeah, I think it's a good fit. It's always cool to go through. We do that a lot in pre-sales, go through people's use cases and say, let's make sure that all your project requirements are met. And we sort of break down exactly what they want their process to look like. So it's always helpful to have that from potential customers.
Yep.
Good stuff. Well, that's all I had in Trello.
Yep. I don't see anything. Anything in Facebook here. So I think we are actually good to go. No other comments. Okay.
Great.
Well, our next office hours. Oh, I'm sorry. Do you guys have anything else? Anything to add, bring up? I didn't have any news this time to report.
I don't think so.
I think the only thing I was going to bring up was that the new WordPress 5.3 release came out between the time we last had office hours and now. And if you haven't noticed, and if you use WordPress a lot, WordPress came out with they changed some of the styles inside the admin UI, which is kind of interesting. I thought was interesting. So, and they've also done a lot of advanced features with time zone and stuff like that. So, time zone updates. So, if you haven't checked out WordPress 5.3, go ahead and check that out. WP Courseware is fully compatible with it. We've checked it out and it looks consistent even in the new UI. So that's something significant that happened between the last time we talked and now. So thought I'd bring that up.
Awesome. Yeah, that's good.
It's all about borders.
All about borders.
And radius. Yeah, it looks pretty slick. It threw me at first seeing it. I was like, whoa, something's different. But it looks nice.
Yeah.
Great. Well, no announcements here.
Cool. Well, looks like our next office hours is slated for December 27th. So a couple days after Christmas. And so 1 p.m. Eastern, December 27th.
Well, thanks everybody.
Yeah. Thanks for the questions, guys. If you guys have any other questions, or if you have questions you want to submit for our December episode of Office Hours, just navigate to flyplugins.com/office-hours, and you can register for the webinar. You can also submit your questions there for anything that you have for any of our plugins, and we will be happy to answer those in our next Office Hours session. So thanks everybody for joining.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Have a great weekend, everyone.
You too.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.